Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. Today, we're going to discuss the Data Analytics Bootcamp. My name is Shawnee Sutton. I am the enrollment manager here at Georgetown University for our professional certificate programs. I am joined by Jeffrey Warner, the Senior Director of Professional Certificates and Development, Stuart Brown, the subject matter expert and adjunct faculty member, Lindsey Thomas, Director of Integrated Career Services. Today, Jeffrey will talk to you all about the bootcamp curriculum, give you an overview of the bootcamp, and discuss what you will learn. Stuart will join after Jeff to discuss the Thinking to Thriving course. And then Lindsey Thomas will follow to talk about how we support your career development. I will later come in and discuss becoming a professional learner in regards to your registration process and the tuition and funding options that we have. We will later at the end have your Q&A session. So in the question box, as we're going through the presentation, feel free to type in your questions and we will get to your questions at the end. I will read out your questions, and myself, along with the panel, we will take the time to answer your questions live. So please feel free to get those questions in and we will get them answered for you. And with that, I will allow Jeffrey to start.
Thank you, Shawnee, and welcome everyone to this webinar today. We're so glad to have you, and thank you for your time over your lunch hour. We think that we have an absolutely fantastic certificate in data analytics at Georgetown University. This certificate took a year and a half of research with our faculty, with industry, looking at trends in the marketplace. And I think the final product is really a very, very strong educational product that you may be very interested in taking and earning a Georgetown University credential to advance your career. So what is a boot camp? A boot camp at Georgetown University is a bit different than boot camps at other universities or third-party providers. It is a bundled experience. And when I say a bundled experience, there are three main components to the boot camp at Georgetown. One, the course itself, X Plus 400 Data Analytics. And we're going to talk about the curriculum and what you will learn in X Plus 400 in just a few minutes. So those are the skills and competencies that are directly related to data analytics. Bundled with that is another course, X Plus 900, Thinking to Thrive. Now, Thinking to Thrive is a very unique course and unique to Georgetown because in this course, you will learn the skills, you will learn the methodologies to increase your ability to think analytically, to solve difficult problems, again, this course is directly related to being an analyst, in that as an analyst, you will be looking at data, you will be evaluating that data, you will be saying, what does this data mean? And how can I make strategies based on that data? So the Thinking to Thrive course is directly related to the skills that you will need as a data analyst. And again, I encourage you today, before you decide wherever you're going to study, please go into Indeed.com, go into LinkedIn, and look at the jobs that are posted. Type in data analyst or data analytics and read through the jobs that are posted. And you will see the skill set, and you will see fundamental to that skill set is not only the ability to program, to understand Python, to understand some statistics, visualization of data, but also the ability to think and strategize. And that's what X Plus 900 Thinking to Thrive is all about. And then the third component of the bundle at Georgetown University is career coaching. And we are one of the few universities in the country that provides direct career coaching for our non-degree professional learners. And Lindsey Thomas is going to come on here in a few minutes and tell you about the wonderful support services that she offers, because we know why you're taking this course. We know that you want to build your resume with a respected credential. You want to get the skills and competencies that are going to make you competitive in the workforce today to get that good job that you're looking for. Next slide, please. So what is the bootcamp experience? Well, in the course itself, XPARS 400 Data Analytics, it is a 12-week intensive experience. We know that time is one of the most precious commodities that you as a professional learner have. You may have a full-time job, you have commitments outside of your job, and then you're going to study to earn a Georgetown credential on top of that. So this is designed for busy professionals who need to quickly gain a very high level knowledge in data analytics from a respected university. It includes face-to-face discussions, just like here. Even though we won't be on campus, you will meet Friday evenings for an hour, and then Saturday mornings till 9. You'll have Saturday mornings off, except if you need to attend lab at about 1 o'clock. But most of Saturdays you will have off, and it would be Friday evenings and Saturday mornings when most of the lectures will occur. So there is some flexibility. Again, we understand even your weekends are busy, so this is deliberately scheduled that way to meet your schedule. Another thing that is really important when you leave here today and you compare this program to other programs is class size. The maximum class size at Georgetown University Data Analytics Certificate is 24 students. That's it, 24. You will not be in a large class with dozens and dozens or even hundreds of students. We believe that to have a quality educational experience, we need to keep that class size small so that you can get the help you need from your instructor and also the networking from the other students in your class, which is so critical. Next slide, please. So we call this real-time experience live online because, again, we spent a great deal of time designing this experience with engaging activities, discussions, lectures, everything that you would experience in a classroom, but at your convenience wherever you may live. And again, being live online, we have students from around the world who come in and take this certificate. So it's not uncommon that you'll be in the classroom with someone from the East Coast, the West Coast, Alaska, Hawaii, Asia, Europe, South America, Africa. And I think that really adds also to the richness of the educational experience, particularly at Georgetown. Next slide. So what are you going to learn? Again, this is a 12-week intensive program, and it's really important to examine the learning objectives and compare that to what kind of position you want in the job market. You're going to learn programming techniques, particularly the use of Python. You're going to understand the strategic and operational value of using data, and that is extremely important as an analyst. So you have this data, but how do you turn the data into information, which is data in context, and then how do you turn it into knowledge? Because it's only from knowledge that you can make informed, appropriate business decisions. You're going to identify data resources, you're going to create data sets, and most importantly, you're going to learn how to effectively communicate those results. Because as a data analyst, you're going to be called in to say, okay, here's the data, here's the visualization, what does it mean? So the ability to communicate that, communicate your understanding of what your analysis means is fundamental to the position. And also here at Georgetown, all of our courses take into consideration the ethical considerations of data analysis and decision-making process. It's core, it's fundamental to what we believe at Georgetown University. Next slide. So there are 5 modules within this 12-week course. And I'm going to quickly go over each of these modules. and go over some of the learning outcomes. There's more information on the website. Plus, if you're attending here today, Shawnee will be sending you a copy of this presentation, so you will have time to read it and think about it, ask additional questions. But let me go over these 5 modules. The first is Foundations of Data Analytics, followed by Statistics, and then we come back and we put Python and SQL together in the 3rd module. The 4th, Data Visualization. Everybody loves the data visualization portion of this study. And then finally, the Capstone. And the Capstone is so important because this is a demonstration of everything that you've learned in the 10 prior weeks. This is the proof in the pudding that you can go out and say, this is what I know, and here's a demonstration. Here is proof. This is what I've learned, and these are the skills that I can bring to my job. So let's go to the next slide, and I'm just going to briefly go down some of the learning outcomes from each of the modules. In Module 1, we'll begin off with utilizing the command line interface to navigate through and access Python. You'll download and install Python. The current version of Python is what, 3.7, 3.8 now, and it's free. And the first meeting of class, you will learn to download and install that. You will build Python scripts. You will use Jupyter Notebook, which is an interactive development environment, to write those Python scripts. And so that lays the foundation of a good, solid understanding of Python and how to write those scripts. Next slide. Then we take a little break. We go into statistics. And in statistics, unlike the statistics that you may be familiar with if you had it in high school or college, we don't sit and flip coins. That's not what we talk about in our statistics module. What we talk about in our statistics module is the practical application of statistics and understanding the data so that it can be appropriately analyzed. We talk about regression models. We talk about and differentiate between correlation and causation. Then in Module 3, we come back, and again, we then integrate Python and SQL together. And it is in this module where you begin to learn how to extract and transform and load data into a database so that you can then access it and analyze it. Module 4 is the visualization portion of this course of study. And we do use Tableau, and it is an introduction to Tableau. But beyond just learning how to use Tableau, you also learn how to use Python and integrate that with Tableau. We also teach you about how to present data. Now, I know many of you sitting there this afternoon listening to this say, well, a chart is a chart is a chart. It isn't. I can tell you, I've been teaching for 21 years, and I can tell you that the #1 problem that I see with my students is that they don't know how to represent data. They don't know how to use the correct chart to present data. And many times people put too much data in the chart. Remember, a picture is worth 1,000 words, but if that picture isn't clear and designed well, you're not going to convey the important message. So fundamental to Module 4 is learning how to visualize data and also using some of the tools such as Python and Tableau. And then finally, the last module is the Capstone. You will be given a problem set of data in which you will be asked to solve a problem and present some outcomes, analyze the data, and then make a presentation to the class. So again, that will demonstrate everything that you've learned in the last 10 weeks. So quickly and briefly, that's what you're going to learn. Those are the 5 modules that we have in the program. And again, I want to emphasize that the curriculum was developed very, very carefully. Again, going out, looking at the skills and competencies needed as a data analyst. What are employers looking for? What can we effectively teach in 12 weeks? And what will give you a meaningful credential from Georgetown University? Next slide, please. One of the number one questions that our students always ask is, Georgetown has a very good data science certificate. It's been around for almost 10 years. And now we have a data analytics certificate. So many students come to me and say, do I take data analytics or do I take data science? Which is the right certificate for me? And it depends. And again, I want you to study this chart when it's sent to you. But in a nutshell, data science focuses on applied machine learning with Python. And it's suited for someone who wants to go into the data science track, which may include data engineering, a lot of focus on ETL, the extraction, translation, and loading of data. It also includes visualization, but it gets into a much higher level, and it's much more specific. It really focuses on that data science pipeline and the workflows to get data in and out of a database. On the other hand, a data analytics bootcamp is much broader in general. And if you are in finance, if you're in marketing, human resources, any position that you may hold that you need to analyze data, the data analytics bootcamp is for you. So this will teach you how to access the data, analyze it, present it, talk about it, and make knowledgeable decisions. And essentially, that is the difference between our data science certificate and our data analytics certificate. Next slide, please. And again, we're going to send this to you, but I would encourage you, there are 2 links there to Indeed.com. And I want you to go out before you make a decision, read the job descriptions. Take time and carefully read the job descriptions and say to yourself, what do I want to do in my life? Where are my talents? What are my skills? Do I want to take the data science track, or do I want to take the broader data analytics track? Again, this is a very important decision. Only you can make this decision. And my recommendation is, one of the best ways to make that decision is to look at the job skills. Understand what you will be doing as either an analyst or a scientist. Next slide, please. The tech requirements, again, if you're joining us today, you probably have all the technical requirements you need. I do want to make one point about that. You do need access to the command line on your notebook or laptop. Being located in Washington and also having many professional learners coming from finance and government agencies and other industries with high security levels, you may not be able to access the command line of your work computer. So one thing that you really need to check out is if you plan to use your work computer, that you have access to the command line. If you have a home computer, that typically is not going to be a problem. But if you work in a very high security environment, that is a consideration that you want to take a look at prior to the first day of class. Next slide, please. So at this point, a little bit, the next cohort begins on January 14th. It goes to April 2nd. It meets Friday nights. You have lectures 6:30 to 7:30, and then some prep time, reading time 7:30 to 9:30. And the reason we have this prep time is so that Saturday morning, when we begin class from 9 to 11:30, you are prepared and ready to go. Again, this is an intensive experience. We don't want to waste time. We know you're busy. So every minute that we're together, we want to make that count. Then from 11:30 to 12, we get a quick lunch. We come back from 12 to 1:15 with Stuart, when he talks about thinking to thrive and how to make better decisions. And then in the afternoon, we have a lab from 1:30 to 2:30. So typically your day is over by 2:30 on Saturday, maybe a little earlier. Some labs do run less than that, but again, it's good to schedule that time just in case you need extra help. So our professors are there to help you. Again, small class size. Our goal is for you to be successful in this program and earn your certificate. Next slide, please. And on that, let me introduce to you my colleague, Stuart Brown. Mr. Brown.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Warner. I appreciate it. First of all, everybody, apologies. I've got a little bit of a cold, so I'm going to cough once or twice during this presentation. As Jeff said, my name is Stuart Brown, and I am the adjunct professor who teaches Thinking to Thrive. But I'd like to start this short presentation with a question. Have you ever seen someone in your organization or public life make a horrible decision? Or better yet, have you ever made a decision yourself that you later regretted? And the answer for almost all of us is, of course, yes, particularly if you live anywhere near the National Capital Region. We at Georgetown know that everybody makes decisions every day. So we're not here to teach you how to make decisions. We're here to provide you with tools and processes to help you make better decisions. And in that realization, we came to the understanding that we needed a course that would do this. And that's how Thinking to Thrive was born. Next slide, please. So we designed this course to be a survey course. Since we cover about 4,000 years of human decision making, you can imagine that we can't delve too deeply into each one. However, the intent here is to introduce you to the various decision making processes, methodologies, tools, frameworks, and so forth, and show everybody how these different processes can fit together and combine to make better decisions. Our teaching processes include tools include lecture, reading, video, podcast, seminar discussion, computer, simulation, role play, and case study method. And we are live online. This is actually in some ways better than being in a classroom. I've been teaching here at Georgetown for about 6 or 7 years now, and I started a course right there in the classroom, which meant that the classroom was limited to people who could drive there for the class. In our new format, I have students in the Philippines, I have students in Europe, I have students in South America. It's a really international program, and you'll benefit from this because you'll get to listen to them. We meet 12 times for about an hour and 15 minutes each, as it was indicated before, and it'd be approximately an hour and a half prep for each class. We try and keep this to a minimum because, like you, I was an adult learner. I got my MBA at NYU, quote unquote, part-time. I've taken courses at Georgetown while having a full-time job. I know how hard this can be, so I have a level of sympathy. Next slide, please. Here are the learning objectives, and I'm actually going to go through these because I think they're worthy of comment. We want to discover and overcome mental blocks to your thinking and judgment. One of the hugest problems that we have in decision making is approximately 95% of all decisions are made based on bias, emotion, and fear. So we need to understand how that plays and hopefully control it. We want to apply analytical thinking to break down complex information into fundamental parts. We talk about convergent thinking and divergent thinking, and a variety of different tools where we can break the problems apart, put them in a proper framework so that we can present a cogent solution. We want to apply critical thinking to evaluate and interpret information to develop sound judgment. Critical thinking, that's in about every job description I've seen recently. Everybody wants to be a critical thinker. We'll talk about what that means and how you can sharpen your critical capabilities. We want to identify opportunities for innovation and growth by leveraging your thinking skills so you gain improved insight. We're here to help you. We want to help you think about how you think so you'll make better decisions and understand better the people on the other side of the table and why they're making their decisions. We want you to be able to recognize multiple ways to solve problems and embrace divergent thinking, followed by convergent thinking. And we want to recognize the importance of ethics to determine what's right and how values determine what is important in your decision-making process. We have a tool that we've developed over the years called the decision grid, and that's where you work out all your criteria and weighting and so forth. And although most people don't put ethics in that, ethics is always part of the decision process. It's important that you understand this. Next slide. Here's the course content. We start with the natural decision process. This is the one that will help keep you alive if somebody starts shooting at you. This is the one that makes you jump out of the way of the car if you step off the curb too quickly or run away from that bear in the woods. All good news. However, that natural decision process does not always work out well on complex problems. So we move on. We objectified the natural decision process and produced this decision grid, a very, very useful tool. We also, of course, go back and talk about the granddaddy of all decision processes, the scientific method. We talk about military decision-making process. And right now, a lot of people in the audience are probably saying, oh, I'm not in the military, I don't need that. It's a framework. The American military has spent years and years and years honing its skills in decision-making. They're not always right, but they have a great framework, which I've helped many, many civilian and government agencies adapt to their processes. It's really wonderful. We have made the legal decision piece an optional read that's available for you out there. We'll talk about critical thinking, design thinking, inductive thinking, deductive thinking, abductive thinking, innovative thinking, and strategic thinking. All of the thinkings together, because those are the tools. We talk about ethics and decision making. I mentioned that. We have tools, the decision grid, a thing called the event waterfall, which is a very handy little device in testing our decisions, wargaming. We'll talk about the environmental scan, how you, in an orderly fashion, go about observing the landscape. We'll talk about analytical frameworks, a little bit about risk analysis and cost-benefit analysis. Those are courses in and of themselves, but we'll give you enough of a taste so that you can use these in your decision processes. Then we talk about testing decisions before execution. That's wargaming. It's a lot cheaper to take a decision and test it in a war game than actually roll it out into the public and find out you're wrong. And then, of course, we talk at the very end about tying it all together in the best possible decisions. Next slide, please. Okay, next slide. Are we there? There we go. Okay, now I'd like to introduce Lindsey Thomas, who is the best part of this presentation. Lindsey, are you there? I hear you. There she is. Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Stuart. As Stuart mentioned, my name is Lindsey Thomas, and I'm the Director of Integrated Career Development for our Digital Skills Bootcamps. At the School of Continuing Studies, our students have a wide variety of professional goals, from individuals hoping to make a career change to individuals hoping to grow in their current role. And I think you'll find that career services cater to each of those populations. So my job as Director of Career Development is to bridge all of the great things you're learning in the classroom from instructors like Stuart and Larry with your own individual professional goals. So to that end, the most important service that I offer in career development are one-on-one coaching appointments. So whether you're looking to make a career change or to move up in your current organization, I'll be a resource for you through every step of that process. In our first meeting, I'll take an extensive look at your background to draw out your most relevant professional skills and experiences. We'll create a cohesive narrative around your prior experiences that you're bringing, the skills that you're learning in the certificate, and where you hope to go professionally. If you're looking for a new position, I've set up some online resources to help you get to know the industry, and we'll develop what I call both a proactive and reactive job search plan. I'll help you identify individuals in your network or within the Georgetown network to reach out to, some companies of interest and common job databases for data analytics. And together we'll polish your resumes, cover letters, and LinkedIn profiles with tips and tricks to help you stand out, conduct mock interviews, and discuss how to handle salary negotiations and offers so you can get the best offer possible. If you're looking to move up in your current organization, we'll assess the promotion process at your current company, create goals around what kind of promotion you're looking for, whether that's a title change, a change in responsibilities, if you're looking to move up into an existing position, or if you've found kind of a creative new structure for a new position. And I'll work with you on making the case for that promotion to your boss. So as a candidate, a job search or a career, any kind of career move takes a lot of effort on your part. And my job is to help you put your best foot forward and coach you through that process. So I think the real value add is that individualized look at your specific professional strengths and goals and how to communicate that value to others. In addition to career coaching, I also offer a few other services. So we have employer information sessions. And these typically go one of two ways. Either an employer will give about an hour-long presentation about their company and the roles that they're hiring for, and then you'll have the opportunity to ask questions and introduce yourself throughout that presentation. Or we'll schedule 10-minute one-on-one informational interviews with either hiring managers or recruiters. Well, you'll get to speak with them individually about roles that they have available and your own professional interests and background. I also offer weekly professional development workshops on tips for things like networking, conducting a job search, salary negotiations, resources for planning for the technical aspect of an interview. And then we also do industry and alumni panels throughout Georgetown, where you'll get to hear from alumni in various different fields and industries and their advice for current students. In addition to that, you also have access to a system called Handshake, which is a university-wide career development system. Georgetown has several different career centers across campus, as well as many graduate degrees in data analytics. And so that's a really nice feature in that you get to utilize some of the employer events and alumni panels that those career centers are hosting as well through that system. And you can also find job postings as well as company and recruiter information in there, and can set up a profile similar to how you would on LinkedIn, where they can contact you through that system. I know that many of you would be taking this boot camp as well as working full time. So another nice feature about career services is that you do have access to all of these features for a full year. So if you want to focus on, just the coursework for those first couple of months, you can absolutely do that, and then you still have plenty of time to utilize career services afterwards, or you could utilize career services while you're going through the program as well, whichever works best for your schedule. But that's just a little overview of the services that I offer, and look forward to answering your questions at the end. And with that, I'll hand it back to Shani.
Thank you so much, Jeff, Stewart, and Lindsey, for the wealth of information that you provided for everyone. I'm going to discuss and go over a little bit about the tuition and the registration process. So as you see in front of you, the tuition for the Data Analytics Bootcamp is $6,995. The materials all included. And at the end, you will receive a certificate of completion once you've completed all the requirements for the bootcamp. Just a few funding options we can discuss. We offer a interest-free payment plan. This is one of our most popular funding options that students use. What this entails is that the tuition is broken down into 4 equal payments of 25%. You would pay the first 25% at registration. You will work with our student accounts department to set up your payment plan, and you will have your remaining 3 payments, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days out. This, like I said, this is one of the most popular options that students take in regards to their tuition. For employer education training budgets and for federal agency training budgets, this is what we consider third party. If your employer, which is non-government, is paying for your tuition, we have a form called the intent to pay form. They will complete that form and let us know how much of your tuition they will be covering, whether it's 100% or any number after that, 50, 25. For federal agencies, we accept the SF 182 form, the standard 182 form, and it's just the same as the intent to pay. You will enter, your agency will let us know how much they will cover, who we should invoice, and our student accounts department will work with your agencies directly in regards to invoicing and payment. Georgetown employees, we have a tuition assistance program where Georgetown covers 90% of the tuition and the employee has to cover the remaining 10%. Go Army Ed, active duty, National Guard, Army Reserve, soldiers, and Army civilians, you will work directly with our student accounts department in regards to these payment options, but we do accept. At this time, we do not accept the post 9/11 GI Bill. We are in the process of trying to get the data analytics bootcamp approved by the VA. However, right now it's not, so we are not currently accepting the post 9/11 GI Bill. We hope to have that done soon so that we will be able to accept the post 9/11 and our veterans will be able to use their benefits. Some students take out private education loans. We have a list of our private education loans on our website. Sally Mae is one of the most popular private education loans that have been used for our certificate programs. Registering for courses over time really wouldn't fit into data analytics bootcamp, but we have 27 other programs where students will register for anywhere from 2 to 6 courses for the program. And with this, registering for courses over time allows students to space out their registration. All of our certificate programs, students have a max time of 2 years to complete. So this allows the flexibility to stretch out your tuition, to stretch out your courses so that you can make it affordable for you. Tuition discounts. We have some discounts that we offer to our students. The first discount is for federal government employees. Georgetown is one of 20 schools that's a part of the Federal Academic Alliance, and we offer a discount to federal government employees for as long as they are a federal government employee, and that is 10%. And as for our certificate programs, all of the programs that the School of Continuing Studies offers. The next discount would be EdAssist, and EdAssist is an organization that agencies use in regards to their tuition assistance programs. If your agency is a part of EdAssist, you will get a letter of credit from EdAssist, and we will grant you the 10% discount. Georgetown alumni receive a 10% discount as well, and we consider anyone that's completed a certificate program or degree programs at Georgetown University, you are considered alumni with us, and you will receive a 10% discount. And you can also find this information on our website. And as Jeffrey mentioned earlier, I will be sending out a copy of the presentation as well as the recording of the webinar, and you will be able to click this link here to get that information from tuition and funding. The registration process is very simple. This is an open enrollment program, no application required. Students, we require a bachelor's degree or equivalent. However, if you do not have a bachelor's degree, we have options for you. So please do not worry and do not be discouraged because you do not have a bachelor's degree. Just reach out to the enrollment team at this email address, pdcprograms@georgetown.edu, and we will discuss your options for those who do not have a bachelor's degree. For registration, you would visit our website and you would click register now. You would, for anyone that is new, you would have to set up a student profile through our non-credit student portal. But once that's complete, you will get your net ID and you will create a password, and you will actually have to log into the system again to process your registration, and registration is complete once payment is processed. And this is where you will also select whether you're doing a third party or if you're using any other payment options at checkout. Again, it's real simple. It's very easy, and we take pride in our website being very user-friendly, and students have no problems with registering for our courses. But if at any time there is an issue, the enrollment team is always available to assist. Here you see a sample of your certificate of completion once you have completed all of the course requirements. The certificate is an 8x10 paper. You see we have the beautiful Georgetown seal and your information in regards to the certificate that you've completed and your completion date. This is a beautiful certificate. You feel free to frame it and put it on your wall if you like. Most students do that, but this is your certificate that you will receive. Classes start January 14th. The class size is limited to 24. And this is a great way for our students to feel comfortable and that they are getting the attention that they need from instructors, as well as making this a thriving environment. So that's why our courses, our classes are small, and this creates a very cohesive learning environment for our students. And we will, start with your questions. And I see that we have a question in the box. Is the certificate program ideal for someone who has little or no knowledge of Python?
Great question. And the answer is absolutely yes. If you were looking at the data science program, which uses Python to a higher degree, that may be different, and we do offer a preliminary course. But for data analytics, the data analytics curriculum is specifically designed for someone who may have no programming knowledge. If you do have some programming knowledge, that's great. It's going to be useful. But from day one, we build on those competencies. So from module one, day one, everything from beginning to install Python all the way up to writing your first scripts, it's a step-by-step process, assuming that you're coming into this with not necessarily any programming background.
Thank you, Jeff. The next question is there any way around Friday and Saturday lecture times?
Unfortunately not. It's very important that you attend the Friday and Saturday lectures live online like we are now. Essentially, we're replicating the classroom experience at Georgetown. So the ability to be live with your professor, live with the other students in the class, to discuss problems, to present information is fundamental to this course. This is not an asynchronous course where you learn at your own pace. We have put a great deal of time in using technology to replicate that interactive experience that you would have in a classroom. So your participation Friday and Saturdays is critical. Having said that, there's always a situation where you may be out of town, your flight's delayed coming into home, and you may not get to your computer in time to log in. And we understand that. Things happen, or you may be working late, or you may have to travel somewhere. In that instance, then you need to contact your professor, say, listen, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make this one class. Can you record the session or provide me the notes, or can we meet during lab time and you can catch me up? But typically the expectation is, given that this is an intensive program, that students attend live Friday nights and Saturday mornings.
Thank you, Jeff. The next question is for Lindsey. How long can students use the career department after bootcamp?
Great. So you'll have access for a full year. So that year will end the year from your first day of class. Did I explain that clearly? Hopefully. But yes, a full year from the start of your first day of class.
Thank you. The next question, do you also teach R besides Python?
We do not. And this was an extensive discussion that our faculty had, and it's an ongoing discussion. What we did is we went out, and again, we literally looked at thousands of job postings. And we also conferred with our faculty who are working in the industry. They're not only academics, but they're practitioners. They're all employed as data scientists or data analysts. And we knew that in an intensive program, we could not teach both. And at the end of the day, it became quite evident to us that given the job skills, the market that we were aiming for, Python made a lot more sense than ours. Obviously, of course, as you know, if you ask the question, is a great language, particularly for statistical use, statistical analysis. But for the purpose of our curriculum and for the purpose of having a fit in the job market, we had to choose Python, and we're really glad we did. And we did that in the consultation with our faculty, with people practicing in the industry, and looking at where this certificate fits in the job market.
Thank you, Jeff. Next question. If known, is there other options? Is there other option, data science? Does that require prior coding background as well?
It does not. Again, the data science application is open now. Data science begins, and Shawnee, you may know this better than I believe the last weekend of January is the first, it's the week after data analytics begins.
January 29th.
Thank you. The 2 weeks leading up to the first class of data science, if you complete your application and are accepted into the data science program, then there is a Python workshop for the 2 weeks prior to the first meeting of data science. That data science workshop, that Python workshop, is provided free of charge to our data science students. Data analytics, there's no application. And again, the level of Python use is not at that equivalent to the data science program. So to answer you directly, yes, if you are in data science, we provide free workshops in advance of the first night of class. Why? Because we want you to be successful. We want you to be well prepared. In data analytics, again, our use of Python is different, and that's why it's structured that way. But at the end of the day, the curriculum is structured so students can be successful and earn their certificate.
Next question. Does Georgetown have a grad degree program in data science or analytics?
They do have a grad degree in data science. Lindsey, can you help us with that?
Yes. So I feel like this is kind of like an up and coming thing. There are several different programs. So there's an MS in, I believe it's data analytics, and then there's a Master's of Science in Data Science with a public policy focus. And I think those are maybe the only two right now. But if you're considering a graduate program, I think this certificate can be helpful in kind of seeing if that's something that you're interested in pursuing for those 2 years of graduate school, and can also help you with your application to show that you already have some of the skills that they're looking for before you get placed into a more technical graduate program.
Lindsey, I'd like to share a story, and you probably heard me tell this story many times, but there was someone who had passed the bar examination, was a practicing attorney, and after 5 years of practice, this individual just thought, well, I don't know if I want to do this for the rest of my life. I think I may be interested in data science and data analytics, but I don't want to make that jump into another master's degree after going through law school. I'd like to try it out. So I never will forget, this individual took our certificate simply to determine if that was going to be a good career move for her. It was a test bed, it was a pilot. And I thought it was a very thoughtful, very smart, very wise move to make before jumping into a rigorous graduate program.
Absolutely. And that's something that we've seen students do from this boot camp too. I know students have pursued like a MPP or an MBA at well-known institutions like Vanderbilt and UVA. So I think it is, if you're considering a graduate program, I think that this certificate can be helpful in that process, like you were mentioning, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff and Lindsey. The next question, can students based in Washington, D.C. use campus facilities such as the library?
Well, actually, you don't need to be based in Washington to use the library. We have one of the largest libraries. We're, as you know, one of the top 20 universities on the globe, and you can access our library online. Lindsey, if they choose to visit the actual library, I'm unsure. Can they gain access to the building?
That is a great question that I'm not sure of, but maybe we could find out that information and get back to them.
We'll call over to the librarian and find out. But the fact is, when you are a student in the data analytics program, you receive a Georgetown ID, net ID, you receive a Georgetown password and Georgetown email address. So with your net ID, Stuart has one, Lindsey, all of our undergraduate, graduate students have net IDs and passwords. You have complete access to the digital library for your research.
With our students in our non-credit certificate programs, you do have access to the library if you're referring to the library or main campus. However, due to COVID restrictions, there may be some certain restrictions that you have to go through in order to access the campuses. For Georgia School of Continuing Studies, you have access to all of our facilities. However, again, due to COVID, you have some restrictions. Before COVID, students had access. We had a library, we had student study rooms, things of that nature. And for SCS campus, you have access to all of that. For main campus, you do have access to the library, the Lounger Library. And that is the only department you would have access to for, in regards to student services. All the other services that students have actually is incorporated in their tuition, and our students do not pay for those services. So yes, you will have access to the library only on main campus.
Shawnee, thank you so much for that clarification, and particularly emphasizing that before you come to campus, make sure you go to georgetown.edu and follow the health and safety guidelines that are required before you're allowed in any building. So thank you, appreciate that.
No problem. When is the last day of registration? Students should register for class as soon as they can. However, the way our programs are designed and the flexibility of our programs, we have students that register within the week before class. However, due to COVID restrictions, we ask that students get their registration in as soon as possible, because if there are some things that you have to do in regards to entering our building. But for the data analytics program, students will have up until the day before class begins to register. It takes 24 hours for our system to update for you to have access to all of the systems that you need access to in regards to, Canvas and, Zoom and your email address. So we ask that you register as soon as you can. But however, our students are designed in a different way where they have things that they have to think about before they register for classes. So sometimes they register within the 2-week span or the day before. Jeff, I'll let you elaborate.
Thank you, Shawnee. And I want to emphasize that the class size is 24. It's not 25. So when we have 24 registrations, the class is closed. And we're very, this is an absolute deadline, and we feel so passionate about this because of the quality of education, that one-to-one between you and your instructor and you and the other members of your class. So as you sit there this afternoon or in the coming days and you decide, where am I going to study? Just remember, when you study at Georgetown in the data analytics class, it is a small class, a highly intensive, individualized learning environment. We are focused on your success, and we don't believe that we can deliver the quality of success if we would have unlimited number of students in our classes. You're coming to learn, you're coming to be successful, and that's why the class is limited to 24. And when 24 enrollments occur, then the class is closed.
Yes, and please understand that we do not control the closing of the course on the website. Once that 24 mark has been reached, it will close automatically. A wait list will populate and you can add yourself to a wait list. Next question. What would you say are the key differences for this Georgetown certificate between other data analytics certificates at other accredited universities?
Well, thank you. That's a great question. And I've studied the data analytics programs at the other universities, our peer institutions, and they are excellent programs. You have great options to choose from. I think the Georgetown certificate is unique and offers you the best opportunity because it's a bundle experience. Unlike many of the peer institutions that have great curricula, it's not bundled with, again, Stuart Brown's Thinking to Thrive, nor is it bundled with Lindsey Thomas, typically career services, for a year after the first day of class. We all know, and again, one of the most difficult questions you will face in an interview is, tell us, how do you solve difficult problems? Most of the other institutions do not teach this. You know, they'll teach you Python, they'll teach you, click here, click there, this is how you do Tableau. But at Georgetown, we are teaching thinkers. We are teaching people how to make good decisions. And that's why I think not only our faculty that teach XBus 400 data analytics, the skills and competencies of a data analyst, but we combine that with Stuart Brown that's going to teach you how to think and make good decisions and answer those tough questions. And then Lindsey Thomas comes in and, again, we're interested in your success. So you've taken our certificate, you've earned your Georgetown credential. Now we're going to do everything we can to help you advance. Again, our mission at Georgetown University is your advancement, your success. So that's what I think distinguishes us from the other universities. Plus the class size, it's just a great bundle. It's a great learning experience.
Thank you, Jeff. The next question, what other data analytics programs or boot camps would you consider as the main competing ones to this one, and why is this? Okay, well, you just answered that question. Do you know of the other competing programs? You answered why is ours superior, but do you know of the other programs?
And I would encourage you, go to Google and type in data analytics certificate, and they will all come up for you. And I would encourage you today, this weekend, sit down and look at those other institutions. You know the great institutions. They'll come up in your Google search, and go in, look at the environment, look at the cost, look at how many people are in the class. Are they going to teach you how to think? Are they going to support your career moves? Look at the cost, look at the timing, look at the time and effort, look at the credential, and what I would do. And again, I encourage my students to do this when making a decision. I would get a 8x10 piece of paper. Typically, I'm a digital person, but I'm an analog person when it comes to this. And I would make a grid, and I would put your top 5 institutions down the left-hand side, and across the top, I would put cost, class size, services provided, unique differentiators, map it out. And I think when you map it out, you will clearly see that Georgetown University provides an exceptional educational experience. But I would certainly encourage each individual to do that study, because this is an investment of time and money. And this investment should be taken with due consideration. It's a decision. Again, Stuart, I'll defer to you. Any recommendations on how to make a decision? Because again, our visitors here today have great options, but at the end of the day, how do you make the best decision?
Well, what you just outlined, of course, is the decision grid, which is one of the first tools that we teach you, where we have a very simple methodology where we line up the choices, courses of action, in this case, which school do I go to? And then you also line up against that your criteria for making that decision. And different people will have different criteria. Jeff outlined his, you may have others, you may have different ones, you may have more or less. Then we weight the criteria and then we score each one of the courses of action against that. And this is a very handy tool. And if you come and spend some time with me, you'll get that. You won't get it anyplace else.
Thank you. So we have reached the 1 o'clock time, and I want to say thank you to Jeffrey, Stuart, and Lindsey for joining us today and providing a wealth of information as well as answering all the questions for our attendees. And I want to say thank you to everyone that joined us today. You will be receiving an email with a copy of this slide presentation as well as a link to the webinar presentation. I hope you all have a great afternoon. Please stay safe. And thank you again for joining us.
And thank you, Shawnee.
Thank you.